Hey guys, welcome back to Crushing Sucks. This is my 2020 Lowrider S. Heated grips, cruise, Screaming Eagle, heavy breather, Salomon seat, got the CC bar. Of course, I run GoPros on the back, the front, and on my helmet. Got the bag, got this new Screaming Eagle derby cover that came out when they did my upgrade. Screaming Eagle plugs and plug wires, cam, lifters, push rods. Anyway, what I want to show you today, which made a big improvement on my bike, was this filter here. And I know you've probably seen these filters or these mods before, but this filter actually goes into the head bolts and blows all the bypass oil out of the heads into this filter instead of blowing it back into the carburetor and having the engine burn it off. Of course, when it does that, that oil gets in there and gets on top of those heads and gets deposited, and after a while it'll start messing up your engine. So this is how to fix it, and I want to show you real quick on probably $10–15 fix to get those get that blow by to come out down into that filter instead of in the back into the carb. So let me get some things set up and I'll be right back. Alright, so to get this started, the first thing you want to do is take off your discussion plate here. So you can take the cover off. And once you do this, man, it's really simple. It's not hard at all. Take your outer cover off, your breather cover. There's not near as much oil on that air cleaner than there would be if those breather bolts weren't filtering out to the atmosphere. Also, you'll notice that the butterfly is nice and clean. Prior to that, it was be all gunked up with black from the breather bolts, blowing that the oil mist back into the carb. Because on the original there is a tube that goes from here, connects onto this, and then blows back into here. Same with this side. And the tube goes onto the breather bolt, connects onto this little tab, and then points in this direction. So when you got blow by on your engine, it's just going to blow it back in. So what I did was, here's some of the things you'll need is just some of these tees and I got them 3 different sizes, and I use the 1/4 inch, and anyway, I just use these T's. Oh, no, I'm sorry, yeah, 1/4 inch, and then I just use these T's to make the connection between here and the tubes, and I got those at like AutoZone for a couple of bucks. And then ultimately, your design is going to wind up like this. So you're going to take this air filter, which you can get at AutoZone as well, or any place actually probably. And you're going to take the 2 T's, or you're going to take the 2 ends and move them into your hose, and then you're going to put the filter on the T part. So when you get it on there, you'll be able to adjust it to how you want it. Now this is my first one, and you can see that the tubing's a little thin, and what happens is, the part I didn't like about it is that when I would get it routed, my filter would wind up like this because of the weight, because this had become flimsy. In the beginning it was strong, but after a couple thousand miles it began to loosen up, get hot, you know, and starting to lose its strength. So my filter would wind up like this, which of course I didn't like the way it looked on the bike. So what I did was I went with 1/2 inch tubes. That's more rigid. They kind of have like a metal wound inside, and they don't collapse as easy. So here, in fact, I don't even have any tie wraps on this thing. I just get it aligned where I want it, and then it stays. So the hard part though, well, I wouldn't say hard, but the part I found the hardest was getting this 1/2 inch tube on these T's, because, you know, they're pretty much the same size, and pushing this over this was actually a bitch. But what I actually wound up using, the buddy told me to try mosquito spray, and I used mosquito spray, and damn if it didn't slip right on and then dissolved. So that's how you get them on. That way you can avoid these tie wraps and this whole bending down. So once you get it to this point, all you're going to do is, when you pull your air cleaner off, you'll notice that on this intake, or on this air cleaner from Harley, the Screaming Eagle, there's a big circle indentation here and a big circle indentation here. And I just took a 1/2 inch drill bit and covered everything up and drilled this out, and then drilled this hole out, and then smoothed it down. And then, so the best thing to do is don't run it from here down through and then to here. The best thing to do is to get, once you get this connected. Oh, and one point I need to make is that this filter hole is a lot bigger than this T. So I took a 1/2 inch, or I took a piece of this tubing about that long, stuck over the end of this T, and then put the filter on, and then screwed it down. And you can see it's nice and tight here as well, won't come loose. So like I said, don't run it from here down, because it makes the positioning of this really difficult, because it may wind up over here, or it may wind up over here. So what you can do is just run it from this side, run it up through the holes, and then once you get it through the holes, you pull it up and you put it on top of, or you put them on your breather bolts. Now once you have them on your breather bolts, you can adjust this part here to the length that you need to get behind these bolts, so when you put your air cleaner in, it'll fit nice and snug. Plus your air cleaner will kind of hold these on and they won't pop off. But anyway, with a 1/2 inch, they're not coming off anyway. So when you put it in and you feed them through the holes you drilled, you'll just pull the hose out, and then you'll adjust this to where you want it. And once you get this adjusted to where you want it, you'll come up and you'll measure how much tube you need here to connect onto your breather bolts, and then you just snip them with some scissors or a knife and then put it on. And as long as you have it behind these, then you're okay. If they stick out too far, it's going to put a lot of pressure on your air cleaner, or on your air filter, I'm sorry, and you'll have a hard time catching these. Okay, so once you get these adjusted and you got them behind these bolts, after you cut them, you just put them on there, and then you can adjust this since it's on the T and you don't need any tie wraps, but it is fairly tight. Just simply take you a little pair of needle nose, grip onto that, and turn this hose backwards and this hose backwards a little bit, and it will raise this. If you turn it this way, it'll lower your filter. And then of course this is a black filter, it's new, so it's not dirty. But if you get if you find one that matches your bike, which this is the closest one I could find to match my bike, and I'll eventually use it, you'll actually see, after a while, you'll start seeing the oil blowback come through here. Now, once you get it done, the cool thing about it is it's not sucking any more hot air from these breather bolts, and it's not sucking in that oil for it to be burned off. So now you're just running nice cold air into your intake. What you notice in the back, if you can see it right here, they installed an aluminum intake on this one during my upgrade. Now once you got all this, you won't need any tie wraps or anything. This will stay in place, you don't have to worry about it. I've ridden thousands of miles with it on there, and it's not coming anywhere or coming loose. So then just go ahead and button it up. Get your oil filter back on there. The oil cover. You know, it doesn't give you a whole lot of horsepower, and probably doesn't give you any horsepower, but believe it or not, you'll actually notice a difference, because instead of sucking in that hot oil and that hot air, you're going to be sucking in nothing but cold air. It'll help you your engine also run a little cooler. I usually just snug these down hand tight. I'm sure Harley makes a torque spec for them, and I don't use any Loctite on these. You'll notice that that orange sticker's not on there. That's because it's been replaced, and I'll show you that here in a minute as to why. Or you probably figured it out by my name of the channel, Crashing Sucks. Had a little problem with a curb and messed a few things up. Alright, then you want to put on your discussion plate. once you get this on, you're pretty much done. You can fire it up and give her a little test run. And the reason what I was going to show you was, here's my new helmet. It's a Harley, it's just a newer version of the one I had. Since I did land on my helmet and busted it up, but I had crashing sucks put on both sides, because believe me, it does. And then right here, ask me how I know crashing sucks. Well, I'll tell you. So anyway, I put some Vance and Hines on it, and I'll do a cold startup. I did change all the lights to LEDs and all that cool stuff. Alright guys, so there it is. I think it looks pretty cool. Works great. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.